Hello, children. Are you ready for some cutting up and kikiing? Are you ready for a gay old time? Well, I hope you are, because now it's time for Hey Qween with your host, Jonny McGovern.
Hey Qween, come on and spill the tea. Hey Qween, it's just a good old-fashioned kiki. Hey Qween, we're cutting up with Jonny. Hey, 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 hey Qween.
Hello, my gorgeous glamazons of Gagopolis, and welcome to another body episode of Hey Qween with me, your host, Jonny McGovern. In the house today is an unforgettable queen who is fun, frank, and fashionable. She's a hardworking activist, she's a supermodel, she's a pioneer. You've seen her all over the airwaves. The remarkable Carmen Carrera is here today. Yeah. But before she dazzles on out here, there's another queen I must acknowledge. She's the sovereign of all things sparkly. And like any jeweled ruler, she dictates with a diamond fist. She's the fast forward button on the commercials of my life. I'm talking about the foxy, oxy, Lady Red Couture. Oh, well, hey, Qween.
Hey, Qween.
Oh, well, you want me to do what?
I want you to eat it, son.
Oh, my goodness. Madam, please.
That is the way you get trained.
Oh, yeah?
You know what I'm saying? You start off sweet. Oh, yes. No, don't. And then when they get down there, you say, now eat it. You know what I mean? That's the way you do it. You're not tricking them. You're just baiting them, you know?
Oh,
yes.
okay. Now, do a lot of people, what happens after the eat it part? They either come or go, I guess.
They do both.
First they come and then they go?
Well, sometimes.
Oh, Lady Red.
Sometimes they go and then they come.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I don't know how that's very metaphysical, actually.
Oh, well, you know.
Oh, Lady Red, please. Please, you buzzum.
Well, why have titties if you can't show your nipples?
You're
you know
right.
What I'm
you
saying?
bought and paid for those nipples.
Yes.
You should be able to do whatever you
Whatever I want to do with them.
Oh, well, honey, this is quite a show today. We've been trying to get this diva on the couch for a long time.
Yes, baby, yes. Last time we saw her was in
London.
Work the World.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
The drag world.
Drag world, there you go.
Exactly.
Work the World. Everybody's doing something for the world.
We were all working the world at that time. And the part of the world that we were working was London.
Yes, baby. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yes, it is going to be a great show. Tea will be spilled and fun will be had.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And we're going to be with our Carmen Carrera right after this Fairy Day break. Yeah! We're back. Honey, she is a supermodel. She is an activist. She's an actress. She is stunning. I'm talking about Carmen Carrera. Yay!
Hi, how are you?
Qween.
Hey, Qween. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm a huge fan of the show.
Well, welcome to LA. You just moved here. Lady Red, we got another supermodel in here, so don't be trying to pull no stunts to get focused.
Now, hold on. You know, as a super murder, there are very many categories. And as the bigger one, I love the little ones. So yes, of course.
And we are all inclusive over here.
Yes, we are. This is the headquarters of intersectionality, sweetie.
Yes.
And since Drag Race, you've lived a whole nother life. You've become a supermodel. You've worked with some of the biggest photographers in the world. You've been all over the place.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm just getting started too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot. You know, it's you have to be open to adapting and growing. You know, you can't get too stuck in like your ego or who you want to project, because ultimately you won't be able to tell how people are judging you. Like it's one thing to go on a drag show. You sort of already can expect what people like, what they want to see. But when you are sort of trailblazing in an industry that is not very accepting of who you are, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But I think that's why God put me in that position, you know, is to really strengthen up, toughen up, be more secure in myself. And it's helped me as a trans person to just really be free to like slip into myself and be myself, my true self.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you've been traveling the world to raise awareness for trans people everywhere. Tell me about some of those travels. That must be a lot.
Yeah, well, I started off in Brazil. From there, we shot a documentary with HBO, and we wanted to speak about how dangerous it is to be trans and live in Brazil. It's worse now because of the president that they just elected. It's one of the it has the highest murder rate of anywhere else, and it's been great to connect to young people and give them a few sentences that give them a whole new perspective on life, because sometimes all you need is that reassurance and that little boost of confidence.
Right.
Because I know a lot of these kids have heard the wishful thinking, like, things get better, don't worry about it, but they don't have the tools and the resources that they need mentally to really set that into motion and have that attitude and be confident in who they are. So that's sort of like where my work comes in, because I've questioned myself so many times. I
mean, you've had to do it all publicly.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
Which is the scariest thing, because you have all these opinions thrown at you, and secretly inside, like, my inner child is just screaming for love too. So that's where we connect, is like, I know this pain that you feel, and I want to take it away from you, and I want to get rid of it because it's not yours. It's been projected onto you from society or from people who don't understand you. So that's sort of like, what I do.
So you were on Drag Race. It's obviously a show about drag, and when you decided to transition, there was no real way for you to privately transition. Tell me about that experience, and because you made it public to sort of help other people with their transition, but that can't have been easy to do under the eyeball of not only RuPaul's Drag Race fans, but all of social media. Tell me a little bit about that and what that was like.
Well, so this is how it was. I knew I was gonna transition before Drag Race.
Right.
Okay. So when I was cast, I was super excited because I'm like, okay, I don't know how my family is gonna take it. I don't know, how my mom truly feels about, her one and only son at the time transitioning. Like, I was really fearful. So I'm like, okay, if I do Drag Race, I know for a fact that if my mom ever missed me, or if anyone ever missed who I was at that time, like, that'd be my little time capsule. So they can go back and they can see that I was just sort of like a young club kid enjoying myself, you know. And that's how it started. And then, so after I filmed Drag Race, I immediately started my transition, and people started to notice because, I'm thinking no one will notice. No one will see that my hair is like naturally longer or that I'm growing breasts. Like, no, who's gonna see that? Yeah, right. Everyone noticed, and I felt all this love from going on tour. It was something new. You start off in the nightlife scene, you go on TV, and then all of a sudden you're booked across the country. Right. And I was getting all this love, and I started to feel guilty. I'm like, am I lying to people? Like, I really should just be honest and say, hey, listen, this is what it is, because people are speculating. So that's what I did. I went on YouTube with my husband at the time, and I was like, listen, I'm transitioning, and this is it. And that got me so much more attention. I didn't realize I was gonna be so loved. And then I got signed to Elite Models, and I was photographed by Steven Meisel, and that put me on CNN, on all these mainstream, like Inside Edition. It was insane. I was just like, what is happening to me? Like, and it was at a time when I was transitioning. I was extremely vulnerable. I didn't know who I was. I was sort of like diminishing who I used to be, and I was very vulnerable. Trying to figure out, like, what kind of girl am I? Like I know that I want to transition to female, but who am I? Like, it was really like those questions. So it was tough because I thought people were gonna love me right away, but I think that's part of trailblazing, is that you kind of take the hardest hits, the most ignorance. And thankfully, Laverne, she came through and educated everybody for me, because I couldn't even form the words, at the time. I was just like, I don't know, like, I'm a girl now, let's have fun. That was sort of like my outlook on it. And yeah, that's basically how it happened. And I've been sort of like trying to build something that it hasn't ever been before. There hasn't been like a multifaceted trans talent ever, So that's what I've been working on for the past couple of years, ever since.
Tell me about the moment when you step on set with Steven Meisel, sweetie.
Oh my
because,
God.
Girl, you were working in the nightclub, changing in the kitchen, giving
yes,
a
girl,
hair
I used to do all of that. Tucking in the closet. Okay. Yes, peeing in the trash can.
Right. So we all know what working in nightlife is like.
Yeah.
It can look glamorous at moments, but it's not. And then suddenly, you're on Drag Race, then you get signed to Elite Models, and then you're working with Steven Meisel.
Yeah.
Take me there, because there's got to be a lot of inner monologue going on there, sweetie.
Yeah.
Look at that. Stunning.
Yeah, I mean, I was really nervous. There was a whole group of male models that were fine as hell. And I just was trying to channel like just my very best. And the way that Steven works is that it's him and his team of photographers. So they're photographing you from every single angle.
Wow.
Yeah, it was at the, it's called the Edison Ballroom in Manhattan. We were there for 3 days. And W Magazine, first of all, has the best pull ever. Like, they were like, okay, we're gonna do a shot with Louis Vuitton. All right, boop, 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 boop. Literally an hour later, we had a fleet of Louis Vuitton, everything you can possibly imagine.
Damn.
Trunks, luggage, like just vintage stuff. You know, I was just like, wow. It was like, I was blown away. My ADD like kicked in like extra, you know, like I wanted to take everything home. Everything was in my size. So that's what made it worse. And yeah, it was just really beautiful. And I was like, wow, this is gonna be another time capsule in my life, because I wanted to focus on modeling. I wanted to be taken seriously as a model. There's had never been a trans model that was openly trans in the modeling industry at the time. Everyone was resistant to it. And then the petition came out. My fans made a petition for me to walk the Victoria's Secret show, which made it even worse, because people were like, no, a transgender, no. Like, it was really hard back then, because I felt like I couldn't celebrate my own victory because I knew of all of the resistance I was facing. So I just remember wanting to do my best, wanting to make sure that I put my very best on film, because afterwards I was gonna probably be in the fight of my life. Yeah.
And did you feel like you were after that? That it was the fight of your life?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what was the hardest part? Was it resistance from the Drag Race fan group? Was it just the patriarchy in fucking general? What was the
patriarchy? Absolutely. You know, it was sort of a battle. What I remember back then was I had come out and I made a critique about a female or she-male game on Drag Race, and it was at the time that all these new things were happening to me, and I was trying to break ground. The petition was out there. And I started to lose support from the fans because they felt like, you know, I was biting the hand that fed me, or I was just being like, I felt like I was too good. Whatever these people thought that I was projecting was completely false. You know, I wanted to stand up for what I felt was right in a respectful way. You know, I never put the show down. I never cussed anyone out. I wanted to be diplomatic about it because I still love Drag Race. I still... my heart is in the show. That's how I started, you know?
That's the spotlight and the platform that you first got.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, so I was losing support from the Drag Race fans, and, you know, in mainstream, I guess the patriarchy, they're like all about the followers. They're like, well, if you don't have a Gigi Gorgeous million followers, then it's gonna be a liability for us to put you in the show. And I'm like, but, you know, I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not an influencer, that's not my job, so you can't expect me to have influencer numbers. You know, I'm just an honest person that was blessed to have a whole bunch of people wanting to support me to walk this show. Like, let's make it happen. And then I went through the sort of channels. You know, they're like, well, if you want to be a model, your boobs are 32 triple D, those have to go. And your waist, your hips are 42, your waist is a 28, we need it down to a 24. Wow. And I did it. And I did it for 2 years. I lost a shit ton of weight. My mom was like, what the hell are you doing? This doesn't even look like you. And I was like, Mom, just trust me. It's gonna work, okay? Of course it didn't.
Like, what is the regime that gets you down to a 24-inch waist?
Just, oh my gosh.
Lady Red, get up by your pads. Start taking notes for me.
Chicken every day, okay. Okay, I'm gonna tell you the secret. This is not healthy. You didn't hear this from me.
Is it real chicken or faux chicken?
No, it's real chicken.
Okay, real chicken.
So you're gonna have 4 boiled eggs every morning with a cup of espresso.
Okay. Jesus. Okay, go ahead.
And some English muffin, double protein English muffins. That's your breakfast.
Okay.
Your lunch and your dinner will be a rotisserie chicken, an entire rotisserie chicken a day.
Okay, that's nice. I like that.
With just spinach leaves and broccoli.
Can I
no
have Lowry
dressing,
seasons?
no butter,
seasoning salt?
no cheese, no nothing.
Jesus, okay.
And you
Okay,
eat that for like 2 or 3 weeks straight, and you do cardio twice a day, morning and night. And I lost like 40 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
In what period of time?
And it was like a month and a half or so.
Ooh, honey.
Yeah, I was really, really skinny, and you know, and then all of a sudden they're like the designers, yes, you know, come open up for this show and open up for that show, and I thought I was like doing something amazing, but then I'm thinking back and I'm like, wait a minute, like I stand for women, I stand for equality, why am I trying to fit who the patriarchy wants me to be?
Right.
What am I doing? You know,
Right.
I had that sort of moment of like, I don't feel good, this doesn't feel healthy. And then I just stopped. I moved to Wilhelmina, who accepts me for who I am, and I ended up booking Miami Swim Week last summer. I was the first trans model walk Miami Swim Week, and there we are, I guess. Yeah.
Tell me about that David LaChapelle photo shoot, sweetie.
Oh my God! Can I just say for the record,
Yes.
that is not my penis.
Whoa! That's tea!
That is not my penis.
Because now, this was a controversial moment when the picture came out,
It was
right?
very controversial. Okay, so I went to Life Ball as the Life Ball poster girl, and I was just
Yes.
like, yes, I'm a poster girl. Woo. Girl, they were protesting me when I got there. It was terrible because they put the naked posters all over town in front of schools. And the parents were just freaking out. And you know, I have 2 stepchildren, and I was just like, damn, I would not want my stepkids to come out of school and see a woman with a penis on a huge poster. Like, I get it. I'm a parent. Like, I understand. So I felt really bad, and
Because the image, for those of that hadn't seen it, was you looking beautiful,
Yeah.
but there was a penis
it
right
was
in the
full
middle.
frontal nudity.
Yeah.
It was me, one image of me with a penis and one image with a vagina. And the message was like, beauty has no gender. Like, I'm still the same beautiful person despite whatever genitalia I may or may not have. That was supposed to be the message. I didn't know that they were gonna put it all over town. I
That
thought
it
it
was
was
gonna be
just
literal.
yeah, but the good part of the story is we sold the picture for $250,000, and that went to AIDS research, which, you know, is a big cause for me because my father passed away of HIV when I was 2, you know, so I've always wanted to do something in that realm, because had he been alive now, I would have benefited from a lot of these organizations that do help families who are either affected or infected with the virus. So I feel like, you know, it was a little bit bad, but then it was like good too.
What was that experience like with shooting with David LaChapelle, another legend?
It was beautiful. It was in his backyard. He has a huge garden. He's an amazing person. He's a Pisces. He's like sensitive, and he's just a lot of fun. He has a big heart, and he's a genius. And I felt really lucky to be part of his like bevy of stunning models, or, you know, subjects. Yeah.
Did you call him up and be like, whose penis is that?
And I kind of did, but he did a good job. It was a nice penis.
It looked lovely.
It was very nice. You know, I was like, thank you, because if you would have given me a really small one, I would have been mad. You know, like, because there are a lot of trans women who are very well endowed, proudfully so. And I love that. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
some of them are in the studio right now over there in the corner.
There are.
Yes, Lady
Yes,
Red.
ma'am.
Be sure that you're following Hey Qween on all of our social media at Hey Qween TV. All right, well, it's time to go back in the time machine. Carmen, are you ready?
Uh-oh.
Here we go. Hold my hand. We'll make
go.
the jump. Whoa, Carmen, we're back. We're back in New Jersey, where little Carmen is in the 4th grade, praying, God, please make me a girl. What was growing up like for little Carmen?
Well, you know, I was good at playing the, like, I guess, I'm a straight guy, like, game. You know, I was like, I remember growing up wanting to just be like all the other guys at school, look like all the other guys at school, but I was hanging out with all the girls. You know, I remember, but I was super quiet. I was just a quiet kid.
So you're doing straight guy drag. It was your
Straight
earliest
guy drag, yes.
Your earliest drag experience in straight man drag.
Straight man drag, and it was the like barbershop kind of Latino
Oh yeah.
kind of vibe, because that was who I was attracted to. So
Sure.
I'm like, all right, let me become
Your
who I'm
baseball
attracted
cap,
to.
your baseball shirt with
Yeah,
no shirt
backwards
underneath.
cap, the line up over here.
Ooh, the lineup.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yes.
And the oversized tee with the baggy shorts and the Jordan sneakers and you know the belt with the long you know, what's it called? Like the, I
Yeah,
don't know what it's called.
the
You know what I'm
tip.
talking about. The long,
The
you know,
long
the
tip,
belt with,
yes.
yes.
Of course, right.
Yes. And that was my thing, and that was like my veil.
A lot of that time you felt like you were hiding so much that
Yeah.
you didn't really get to grow up.
Exactly. I didn't get to interact. I didn't get to really develop like those people skills, you know, that you learn in high school. Until I turned 18, and that summer I was out. I went to the Village. I met my best friend James, who's with me right now.
All right.
Yeah, and like we took over the whole nightclub scene in New York City. It was the Carrera family, and right.
Really?
It was Carmen Carrera, Angela Carrera, Tia Carrera, Natalie Carrera. We had a whole family.
I love it.
Yeah, we would just do Diva Search. You know, we would do the amateur shows in DC and in DC, Hartford, Boston, New York, New Jersey, and we would just go in and storm it, slay it. Like that's what we would, you know, go get our coins, and that was it. That was pretty much my life until I got married.
What was that first drag show like? Now, you used to take pictures for drag shows, right?
I went to college for photography, and at the time I was going to Esquilita nightclub, and I did.
Yes, honey, Esquilita,
Yes, girl.
sweetie.
And I was not trying to pay that $20 cover, girl.
Never.
So I said, let me take some
Never, Miss
pictures,
Carrera.
and that will get me into the club for free.
Oh, that's a good tip.
So right. So, you know, and then I would get paid at the end of the night. It's the gas money home.
Yeah.
Have a great time, you know. And that's what I did. I kind of finessed my way, and I met a lot of the queens backstage. I got to photograph them, and I was obsessed with the drag show. I thought it was the most beautiful thing in the entire world. I mean, me and my friends would just like die to like go watch our favorite performers, see what the production was. Like they would put on an amazing show. Angel Sheridan was the host. They had like the Follies,
Larissa Dumont and all the
Larissa
rest.
Dumont, Lorena St. Cartier, Victoria Lace, like all of these
Yes.
girls, you know, essentially like raised me, because I that's where I started to develop like my confidence to be on stage and to, you know, and it was almost like, how dare you be like a boy with pasties, you know, like that was sort of my thing. Like I was super feminine. My body has always been the way it is kind of now. And they loved that stuff back then. And that's how I really developed, I guess, my love for all things feminine. You know, I was able to tap into that and be real with myself. And you have to stop running. You can't go to the gay club and still like be running from who you are, because it's like one thing that I love about gay men is that they know who they are and they can spot someone who's on some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And I met some of the most amazing, fascinating people during that period of time.
That's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Make sure you're following Hey Qween on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/HeyQueenTV for 3 exclusive podcasts every week. Girl, you got on the biggest drag show
In the
world.
Yes.
Season 3. And that was kind of the breakout season for the show.
Yeah, I feel like that was like the heart. You know, like we had a lot of heart our season, I feel. Everyone was very sincere, very genuine. We were a little playful, but more than anything, like we all had a lot of hope, I think. And I think the audience sort of felt that. Like, I think it was, you know, it was still in the beginning season, so it was rather innovative at the time, like just the type of drag that was on the show. And yeah, I think a lot of people tell me like, oh, season 3 was when I first started, you know, but for me, I think season 2 was like a really big game changer, because they got the new runway. That's when I was like, boom, I need to be on this show, because
Really?
look
Was
at
that
that
it?
runway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't in her garage no more.
You know, season 1 of every show is always kind of like that. You know, and I was
Right.
curious to see what she would do for
around
season
here.
2.
Yes. We know it. We don't like to look back at season 1 around here.
So true.
Now, did you audition right after you saw season 2? You sent in a tape, or had you auditioned already?
I did. Well, Sahara Davenport, she recommended me. And they reached out and they said,
Oh.
hey, they were like, hey, listen, you know, Sahara Davenport said, you know, you're very highly recommended. You know, we'd love to see, you know, submit a tape. And I literally waited till the last day, the day before, because I was so scared shit, because I knew I wanted to transition. And to be honest with you, a lot of trans people, especially the ones that I was around at the time, completely, I shouldn't even say a lot of trans people. The trans people that I was around at the time completely deny their male identity, you know? So they were sort of telling me like, girl, like, are you sure you want to go on Drag Race? Because once you transition, people will always be able to go back and say, look, that's really who she is. That's really, you know, who you're sleeping with is that guy, you know?
Right.
And for me, I was just like, fuck that. Like, I want to celebrate myself, you know? Like, I want to be proud of myself. Each and every chapter of my life, I want to go back to Drag Race, watch myself, and still love myself. I don't want to be there like cringing, like, oh my God, I was a boy back then. Like, no, you know, I'm proud of that. So that's when I decided to do it, and it was the day before, and we filmed it at this like nightclub. They had like a pageant going on or something, and I remember like stopping traffic and like just getting in front of cars and just not caring because I wanted to make sure that Ru knew that I had the charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent to be on the show, you know, like. And yeah, it worked out. Like they called me and I quit my job at Mac. I left, well, I had already just finished school and I was starting to do freelance work. I was doing actually celebrity photography, and I would go to like the red carpets in New York and I would take pictures of celebs and stuff, and then I would, you know, they would put it on like kind of like a Getty Images kind of thing. Yeah. And I quit that and I left my position at Mac. And I went on the show. Yeah, my life changed after that.
You only had 4 days to get ready, is
4
that right?
days, no, 3 days.
3 days?
3 days.
Can you imagine them giving them 3 days now?
Yeah,
People would lose their mind.
They said you have 3 days and you have up to eight bags of luggage to take, and that was it.
And what did you do?
Girl, I called every drag
yeah.
queen I knew in my area, okay?
Yeah.
I was like, listen, I need your wig. Okay, I need that wig. I need that dress. I need this thing. You know, I called my friend Harmonica Sunbeam.
Harmonica Sunbeam?
Yes.
I love her.
She gave me some of her dresses. Actually, the one that I lip-synced against Yara, that's Harmonica Sunbeam's like whole entire look. Yeah, I called all my friends up. I got, you know, Empress Vizcaya. She gave me one of her wigs. I remember I like took someone's tits. Lorena St. Cartier's boobs. I needed them because she had the good ones. They weren't the regular chicken cutlets. They were like the full breast chicken cutlet.
You need a full one.
And they're expensive. They're like $400. I didn't have money at the time, so I was like, okay, I need those. And yeah, I just pulled it all together, and they kind of send you like a little list of a few of the requirements. Like if they say, oh, we have this theme or that theme,
right?
You know, it's sort of vague, but at least they give you some help. And yeah, that's it. Got my stuff together and I left.
So you walk into this situation, you walk into that first room. What's your first impression?
Bitch, when I got there, I walked in and I was like, holy shit, I'm here. And it looks way bigger, you know, it was like way bigger than I thought, than it looks on TV. And yeah, it was just magic. I felt like, wow, like this is the beginning of the rest of my life.
Just like the song says.
Yes. I was sent home by Raja and by Shangela, which are like the two like biggest names.
Totally.
You know, in the history of Drag Race. So I'm good with that. No hard feelings. I was happy. I was like, okay.
The show is filmed and then it comes out. So that's a big, and you knew already before the show that you wanted to transition. Mm-hmm. Where were you at mentally in what you, like, I know I have this coming out. Mm-hmm. How am I gonna navigate that? Like, what was going through your head at that time?
I was just, honestly, I was just going with the flow. Like whatever came, you know. I was sort of like, you get scatterbrain, you know, like when you first become, you know, in the public eye and then you're favored, and then you're judged, you know, you sort of like have to learn how to swim and navigate through all that garbage to get to hit your goal, you know? So I was only focused on, you know, not only was I balancing the fact that my entire identity was being transitioned, but I was also dealing with understanding my own insecurities and why I had certain triggers with the way that I was being judged. I also was dealing with a lot of things at home. You know, me and my husband at the time were not doing well. And then, you know, the kids were just, you know, there all the time. So I was focused on being a good stepmom. I would transition with the kids.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, like you know, my ex-husband, like we were married before my transition and the kids knew me before my transition, and then I transitioned, you know, to be stepmommy. you know, and they embraced me that way, and then I felt a certain responsibility to them. And at the same time, I was away from home. I was transitioning away from my family. They didn't even get a chance to see me. You know, the last time they saw me, I was a makeup artist for MAC, and then the next time they saw me, I was like full woman, you know, so I had to deal with that.
Right away, yeah.
So there was a lot of things going on, and also maintaining my social media, and just, it was just a lot of growth, to be honest with you. Forced a little bit, but that's just how my life turned out.
Did you feel like you had to just step up to a lot of challenges?
Yes, I needed to step up. I needed to keep my brain clear. I needed to just keep going and keep pushing. Even though there were a lot of times that I felt like maybe I was not worthy, or, you know, I questioned a lot of my own self-worth because of all the resistance I was dealing with. Nobody rolled out the red carpet for me, you know, as far as the modeling goes. And I was seeing how, like, Kendall Jenner and Gigi Hadid were having it so easy, you know, like they came off of a reality show and they went boom, right into modeling, and they were taken care of, you know, like all the designers wanted them. And for me, it was just like, I knew I was good enough, but it was like I was just being denied just for who I was. So that was really hard to deal with when you have the pressure coming from the Drag Race fans who want you to succeed overnight, you know, or pull it out of your hat as if it's your responsibility to become more famous or to become more successful. It's like, it's not up to me, you know, so it was a lot, but I think that it really pushed me into being the strong woman that I am today. And if I didn't experience that, I think that I would have just been a different person.
Hey Queens, thanks for watching. For part 2 of this interview, click here. For more Hey Queen fabulousness, click here. And of course, don't forget to subscribe.